Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to do a little get ready with me today and talk about my spring TBR. Okay, so I also figured we would be fitting, and I'm wearing my Tangled shirt from the Lost Bros. I love Tangled. If you know me, I'm a big Disney fan, as you can probably tell. But yeah, feeling festive. Alrighty, so I figured we would talk about my massive hopes and dreams for my spring reading, which I am a seasonal reader. I like to tailor my reading to obviously what I'm in the mood to read, but also have it be relevant for the season because it's just fun. But while I do that, I'm going to be getting ready, and I'm going to start out with my Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Primer. I'm not really going anywhere or doing anything. I'm just yapping, so I like this primer a lot, but it's not super long lasting. That's not the function. It's more just to smooth your skin. So I will wear this if I know I'm not necessarily planning on needing my makeup to stay on a super long time. All right, and then for foundation, we're going in with one of my current favorites, which is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I really like the finish that this gives. It is a good amount of coverage without being cakey, which is always great. And you really don't have to use a lot. I guess I'll start out by sharing my current in progress books, which is the new Hunger Games book, Sunrise on the Reaping. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm 75% of the way through. We're budding reading it with me and some of my friends. And I forget how much I love the Hunger Games. It's flying by. It's very fast paced. And even though you're following Haymitch's games, so you already know what's going to happen. It's obviously very sad. There's enough surprise in there that it's really making me want to know what's next and how things come about. And I moved you a little bit because I felt like this angle's better, but it's also a little gloomy outside, so the lighting's not the best. But next we're going to go in with my tried and true ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer. And we're going to talk about what's next on my TBR, which is Masters of Death. I have been trying to read this for a long time, and for some reason it just keeps getting pushed back and back on my TBR. Look how pretty the inside is. And the end papers are really cool. But this one is I believe it's a fantasy romance, and you're following a vampire and a real estate agent. And so I think it's supposed to be funny too, and I think I'm in the mood for just something not light, because I do like my reading to be a little bit more serious, but I like a nice humor tinge to my reading every now and then. Especially I feel like spring, it's light, it's fun, But I also just really am wanting to read more off of my physical TBR. Because I've been buying a lot of books lately. Okay, next, I'm gonna go in with powder, which is the One Size by Patrick Ta translucent powder. Been enjoying this. If you watched my Sephora haul a while back, I had gotten the Hourglass powder, the super fancy one that a lot of people used back in the day. And I used to be a fan. I had it for a little while and I enjoyed it. It was a fun treat yourself item. And I don't know, this time I just didn't like it. Something about it, it didn't really hold my makeup in place like I want, because for me, with loose powder, I like to press it with my sponge to prevent creasing underneath my eyes and wherever else you want it, and it just wasn't doing that for me. So this one's really nice though. I don't know if you can see the work it's putting in. I try not to use a ton, again, just under my eyes, on my eyelid. So I know I just talked about reading books off of my physical TBR, but there's also some fun new releases I really want to read. And one of those is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McGonaghy. And I really am excited for this one. This one's a mystery about a girl that washes up onto shore and this family trying to help her. And I love Charlotte McGonaghy's writing. I've only read one other book by her, but I really want to read more from her just as an author in general, because from what I've gathered from the one that I have read and the one that I know about that a lot of people like, Migrations, I've read Once There Were Wolves by her, which you've probably heard me talk about on here before. Been around for a little bit. It is a really good one, but she always has like layers of elements of nature in her books. So, and she writes very atmospherically, which is always something that I like. Next, we're gonna go in with a newer product for me, which is fun, and that is the Rare Beauty contour stick. Liquid contour in the shade Mellow, and I like to use my e.l.f. liquid bronzer and contour brush this side to kind of pat it in, and I don't know, I've been enjoying it lately. Yeah, this one I'm really excited about. It just released recently, and I've heard a lot of good things, so definitely looking forward to trying that one. Do a tiny bit, I usually do about 3 dots like that on both sides. Just pat it out. Especially since this foundation's a little light for me. I'm in my pale era. A little bit on my nose. Alrighty, and that just added a little bit of color into our face. Alright, the next book we're going to talk about that's on my spring TBR is A Sorceress Come to Call by T. Kingfisher. And look at how pretty this edition is. This was gifted to me by my friend Cody. And oh my god, it is literally stunning, and I am excited to get to it. It's like a fairy tale retelling. By the way, I'm gonna go in with a fun color blush today. This is the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush in the shade Lilac, and I've been trying to experiment with fun blush colors lately because life's too short not to. And I love liquid blush now, which you have to be careful because you don't want to get too much of this. So I literally just do like one little plop, and then if I want more, I can always go back and add it. And I use the other side of this e.l.f. brush. But I know T. Kingfisher writes a lot of novels. I've only ever read their novellas, their horror novellas. So like well, I say that. I also I've only read horror by them, not their fantasy. So I read House with Good Bones, which was really great, and creepy and spooky and very atmospheric. Their writing is very atmospheric, like I said. Also, isn't this color so pretty? But again, very pigmented. Gotta be careful. And then I've also read What Moves the Dead and What Feast at Night, and then there's one other book actually coming out soon in that series. It's like a novella series, the Sworn Soldier series, I think is what it's called. But the cover actually got revealed for that recently. I forget the name of the third one, but I'll put it on the screen. But that one, I'm excited for that. Anyways, this one is more, again, like fairy tale retelling. It gives horse girl because there's a horse on the cover and she talks about a horse in the description. So yeah, also on my spring TBR. And next on my TBR is A Venom Dark and Sweet. This is the second book from the Magic Steeped in Poison series. And I am really excited for this because one, my brother gifted it to me, which is very sweet and kind of him. And he gifted me the first one also. That one, essentially you're following a girl who, oh, by the way, I'm gonna set the blush with this Too Faced palette, this bottom left one, because I'm trying to tone it down a little bit. But don't worry, we'll use a brush and we'll diffuse it out a little bit more later too. You weren't worried, but I was just letting you know. But anyways, the first one, Magic Steeped in Poison, is about a girl who she accidentally poisons her mom and sister. And her mom unfortunately dies, but her sister needs like an antidote. So she figures out that like the tea that she used from the capital was poisoned. So she goes to the capital and participates in this competition. Again, they like can create magic via tea, like certain brews and recipes. And so she participates in this competition where there's a bunch of other kids and there's like a little romance. It's very fun, very magical. I think it's inspired by Chinese culture, I believe. And you definitely can see that woven throughout. And the overall vibes were just really good. All right, now that we've set that powder blush a little bit, I'm gonna use this bronzer set from Alamar Cosmetics, and I normally mix these two. And we're gonna go over our bronzer. Yeah, I'm hoping to get to that one fairly soon as well, because I don't want to lose all of my remembrance of the last one, because it's been a little while since I've read that one. I'm gonna take my normal powder brush and just go over this and kind of like diffuse it out a little bit to make it not quite as bright. The next book on my TBR is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. This was gifted to me by my husband Hunter. And I've been really enjoying getting into Neil Gaiman's books. This one is about a man who promises the woman he loves that he'll bring her back a fallen star. But turns out there's like a lot of people after this star. And so you follow like his journey. It's fairly short. But the other books I've read by Neil Gaiman, The Ocean at the End of the Lane and Graveyard Book, I really liked both of those. They're very like fairy tale-esque, very whimsical, which is you can probably tell the theme of what I think I'm going to be enjoying this spring is that sort of vibe. The highlighter we're going in with is from this same little set thing. Next book is a novel love story by Ashley Poston. I've had this one on my TBR for a little while. And this is a romance about two authors. Actually, no, it's not about two authors. It's about an author who ends up in this like fake fairy tale world and gets like stuck there. And one thing about me is I love any books that have to do with writing or books or authors in them. And so it's like her finishing the book like while she's living in the book. It's very interesting. I set my face with the Milani Make It Last finishing spray. Alrighty, I just put on some mascara and we are ready with my last book on my TBR for spring, and probably the one that I'm going to be getting to first because I'm so excited for this and it is so beautiful. Like, this is not just spring to you. This came out, this is a new release as well from Samantha Soto Yambo. And it is Water Moon, and essentially this is supposed to be a cozy fantasy where the main character owns a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets, and it kind of reminds me of the Dallargut Dream Department Store, which is one of my favorite books, where you can buy dreams, and I think it's going to be kind of similar to that, which I love. So all of these, I'm super excited to get to this spring. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get to them all, because I know it's a little lofty as far as my physical TBR. A lot of the books that I read are audiobooks these days just because of the time that I have available. But yeah, I'll keep you updated as I go and catch you guys next time. Hope you have a happy spring. Let me know what's on your TBR. Do you read seasonally? And I would love to know what's next for you. And do any of these sound fun? Will you read any of these? Bye.